Hello. This time of year, I have so many memories of filming a little yoga spiel and a couple of things to do for welcoming in springtime. And this weekend, we come up on the spring equinox. And for many of us, it's a time of spring cleaning and clearing or cleansing, all of these things. And so I'm not in the garden today. I'm in the cozy comfort zone of this inner dwelling, of this inner space. And we have both some of the spring rains, and we have the first fruits of my fig tree outside just getting into its new leaves. And we've had amazing spring cherry blossoms and all of the things. So it's a special time to recognize those trees in their blooming. And the teaching that I wanted to bring today, not from the yoga tradition, but from the Hebrew tradition, coming up on Passover, is that of honoring the waters. And I have this special cup that will go on my Passover Seder table, honoring the waters that came from Miriam's well. And one of my teachers, Rabbi Jill Hammer, speaks so beautifully about the waters and Miriam's well. It was said that a miraculous well follows Miriam, Moses' sister, in the wilderness and lodges in front of the sanctuary that was being built. And trees and sweet-smelling fruit grew near the well. It was a place of healing and comfort. And so I wanted to bring that sense of the trees, the fruits, and the waters, bringing a sense of healing and comfort, because we're coming up on a year of having been sheltered in place. And the waters hold a lot, and they might hold our tears and our pain and our anguish. And on days where it feels still wintry and we're not ready for spring, we might want to honor those waters, or take those baths, or just drink a sip of water to honor the salt and the bitterness in some of the waters, and to let it also cleanse, and let us drink and be refreshed and find renewal. And that's the beauty of this time and this practice. It is also said that every Saturday night, Miriam's well moves through all of the waters of the world, bringing healing to those who are ill and suffering. Let's invite us all to find a special cup and put water in it, and help it remind you about that ability to renew and refresh with the waters. And the yoga practice that I'll offer briefly here in this recording is one that is just very grounding. And the things that can help us move through transitions are grounding rituals. So things with the head down. And if I move my cup of water off to the side for a moment, I also have here a yoga block, and I have my book. And any which way is fine. And just having the head down on something can be amazing. Third eye, forehead, bridge of the nose, anything down on the ground, or when we come into a nice deep child's pose, a rest pose. So to begin, we'll come to hands and knees. Use a cushion to pad the knees, or a blanket, or a towel. And a cushion can be placed also behind the knees, below the seat, over the heels, as you come to a head down position, resting your head perhaps on your arms, and taking a few deep, relaxing breaths. Breathe all the way into your low back, your hips. Feel expansion. Feel your torso. And feel the belly compress. After a few more breaths, you may want to unfurl. And if you are seated in a chair, you can do this forward bend from a seated chair position. A few more deep breaths. And then we'll start to come out of the pose, coming all the way down onto the belly. You can remove your props and rest down, resting your arms in front of you. If you have a pillow, you can prop your wrists over the pillow for a gentle shoulder stretch. Legs straight out on the floor. Continue breathing through to the back body. And then gently we'll come into a little curl, cobra-like, placing the hands on the mat and lifting the head, the chest, the shoulders. Tuck the elbows in. If it's more comfortable, you can straighten the arms out in front of you. Take a lion's breath by sticking the tongue out and lifting the eyes. Rest down on the elbows. We're going to reach back for the left foot. If hand and foot don't meet easily, just take a look at the foot. Keep the hand on the floor. Keep moving the shoulder up. And then we'll unfurl, coming back down to the floor, arms outstretched, legs ahead of you, and you can shake your hips side to side to shake it out. Second side, we'll look back over the shoulder towards the right foot, bending the knee, wrapping that right shoulder blade further down towards your spine. If it's available to you, go ahead and hold on to the right foot, bringing it in towards the hips. Unfurl. Again, come back down to the belly. You can rest your head on your forearms and we'll flutter the legs. Lift left, lift right. You can even do a little flutter kick. You're swimming. And then we're going to fly. Taking the arms back behind you, try to really pin those shoulder blades back towards each other. If it's available to you, clasp the hands and pull your torso up. Pull your head up, lift your chest. Exhale back down, and on another inhale, lift up. Toes can stay on the ground, or if it feels good, you can lift. Another nice way to do this is with the hands at the hips or buttocks. Lift the legs, ground the legs, press the tailbone down and lift the head and chest. Lift up, really curl that back into a back bend. Come out of it and push yourself back up. 2 hands and knees, and we'll take a puppy pose, bringing the arms out in front of you and the head down. Hips stay high, up over the knees, and head rests down. A nice stretch for the shoulders, for the chest, the heart, the ribs. Exhale, sigh, settle here. Let go. Let grace. Let pleasure and ease. And then we'll curl up into cat posture. You tuck your tail and round your back and hold in that contraction of pulling the abdomen in, tucking the tail, rounding the back. And then come through. We'll circle the hips, circle the head in spirals round and round, cat-like. Switch directions, round and round, with your breath, slow movement, enjoying it. We're going to go into a little bit of a stronger pose, coming into a plank where you tuck your toes, lift your knees, lower your hips so your body's in a straight line. If that's not available to you, keep your knees down on the floor. We're going to bring the right knee forward towards the right wrist. Try and get that knee as wide as you can to the outer edge of the right wrist. Take a look at your back leg. Turn the heel in, turn the heel out. Where we want the heel is straight up and down. And if it's available to you, you can lift those arms up, pin the shoulders back. And then exhale, we're going to drape over our front leg. Shift your weight a little bit side to side, but balance your weight between both legs so that you're not leaning all the way over onto your right leg. Your weight is balanced between the legs, hips open. This is a great stretch for evening out, balancing the hips and the sacrum. We tend to have a tightness on one side. Then we'll tuck back into cat and do another couple rounds of circling of the hips and the head before we move to second side. Again, come into your plank pose or half plank with the knees down. And we'll bring the left knee forward. See how the left knee needs to come out nice and wide, so then the front heel is in line with the midline of the body, with the pubic bone. You can take a look back at the back foot before you settle it down. And once you have stability, if you'd like to lift up, you can lift those arms, pin the shoulders back, extend out through the hands. And then settle down, resting on elbows. Use a cushion for your head and settle your weight between both legs. Balancing the stretch between the hips. Taking deep breaths into this deep stretch. Exhale, release, and we'll start to come up and out of the pose. Feel free to circle again or take cat. Circle in the other direction if it's available to you. You can come into a child's pose. Bring in the hips all the way back to the heels. Or tuck the toes under, lift the knees, and press up and back into downward facing dog. Hips high. We'll take the right leg up, bend the foot and lift the right knee high towards the ceiling. Square both arms and shoulders, press evenly through both arms. Bring that leg down. Take a look forward, bend the knees. And then other leg. Left leg up, bend the knee so the foot comes down and the knee comes high. Square both shoulders. Bring that leg back down. Take a big breath. And again, bring the right knee forward. This time we're going to roll over into a seated position. Into a seated position. Keep the left leg extended out. It's good to put a cushion or two underneath your seat to elevate the hips slightly. Come up to sitting tall. And with the left leg extended out, take a look at the leg. Flex the foot and the toes. Lift the toes and rotate the thigh in. Inward and down, inner thigh towards the floor. We're going to then twist back behind, and so the thigh really rotates internally. Take a look over your right shoulder as you twist to that side, and then as we twist to the other side, you feel an external rotation of the leg. Come back to center and turn the foot in so the thigh rotates internally, turn the foot out, thigh rotates externally, windshield wiper the leg in and out. And bend the knee and take the foot back behind you for a deep internal rotation. Twist in the opposite direction, over the left hip, over to the left side. So even though the thigh is turned in, we're giving a little gravitational pull for the thigh to also rotate externally, both bringing that internal and external motion. Then we'll switch sides, extending the right leg out, flexing the foot, rotating the thigh in and down towards the floor. You can do that manually with your hands. And then look behind you. There'll be an external rotation of the leg And so then we'll follow that with rotating deeply internally and turning over in the opposite direction over the left. Then tucking the right leg back behind you, bending the knee, bringing the right heel in towards the buttocks, twisting back to center, and twisting in the opposite direction over that back foot, over the right leg. So even though the thigh wants to turn internally, we're giving it a little gravitational twist, pulling it externally. From there, we'll come into a final position for now, our Queen Bee position with the soles of the feet together, and you can circle the hips, circle the torso with the feet together and the knees wide. Again, it's great to have a pillow to be sitting on as you're rotating, rolling around, and go in the opposite direction as well. Enjoy this seated massage on your sits bones and pelvic floor muscles. And we'll bring the knees together and end with the seated postures with a boat pose, bringing one foot up at a time before finding a balance pose of bringing both feet up. You can hold the legs behind the knees, resting on that seat, trying to pull the abdomen in as you lift the legs up. Knees can remain bent, or you can straighten one leg at a time for a full boat pose in balance, balancing on the tail and sits bones. If you'd like to get fancy, you can hold on to your feet, your toes as you stretch those legs out wide and have fun with your power and your seat. And then tuck yourself into a little ball, and we'll come into a squat. Heels to a cushion, deep forward fold, head down, knees wide. In the Queen's squatting position.